Hello! Today we're going to do a 30-minute full body mat Pilates style class. It is open to all levels. I'll give lots of options. If you have a yoga block or light handheld weights, those are the props we'll use today. But if you don't have any props at home, all you need is a mat or something that you can move on, comfortable clothes, and we'll get started. So we'll start in a child's pose. So just bring your knees the width of your mat, reach your arms forward, and send your hips back. Melting your forehead down, take a few big breaths here. So on an inhale, I want you to wiggle your fingertips forward. On an exhale, drop your hips lower, keeping your forehead down. One more breath like that. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, drop the hips. Good. Keep this length in your spine. We'll walk the hands over towards the left. So they can come fully off of your mat. Hips can press in the other direction. And just take a breath into your right side body here. So big inhale, right rib cage opens up. Exhale, right hip falls. Good, let's walk over to the other side. Find your hands on the right side of your mat, on the floor. Inhale, left ribs open up. Exhale, hip gets heavy. One more like that. Inhale, open up. Exhale, hips heavy. Good, come back through center. Plant your hands and we'll come up into a tabletop. So shoulders on top of wrists, hips on top of knees. We'll do a few cat-cows. On an inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze. On an exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin. One more like that. Really try to move your spine as much as possible. Exhale, round, drop the head. Come back into a neutral spine. So right in between those two shapes, you want to think here about wrapping your rib cage in around your spine, belly button up towards your spine. And then we're going to flip the fingertips so they're facing your knees. And just gently lean the hips, the shoulders back, stretching through the fronts of the wrists, the forearms. Maybe the heels of the hands come off, no problem. And then flip your hands so the palms are facing the belly. Do the same thing. This might be a little bit tighter, so just be gentle. Keep your elbows nice and bent. Take a breath here. And then sit your bum all the way back. Shake out the wrists. Interlace your hands behind you, and then lift your chest, lift your gaze. Open up through the chest, the shoulders. Take a breath in. And then exhale, reach your hands out in front of you, interlace them again, press your palms away, chin tucks, spine rounds, take a few breaths here. One more inhale, really puff the space in between the shoulder blades and fully drop the weight of your head. And then slowly come up to a tall spine. Good. We'll get started in some core work on your back. So find all your props. We will use the block right away and your weights. So bring one weight on either side of your mat, whichever direction your head is going to be when you lie down. And then your block is going to come in between your inner thighs. So coming into a tabletop position on your back. So that's when everything is flat and your knees are parallel to your mat. Shins are parallel to your mat. Knees are right on top of your hips. I want you to squeeze that yoga block right in between your inner thighs, trying to find a place that it feels like comfortable. If you don't have a yoga block, you can use like a couch cushion or something in here that you can kind of squeeze. And then just start with your arms down beside your body. And I really just want you to squeeze inner thighs together, activating the inner thighs and the lower abs. So take a few exhales to squeeze it in. Inhale, soften shoulders, head onto your mat. One more like that, just squeeze it in. Perfect, stay right here, grab your weights. You're gonna reach your arms over top of your chest, so everything is nice and stacked here. And then we're gonna just do alternating chest flies. So right arm comes out to the side as you inhale. Squeeze it back through center. And then left arm out to the side, inhale. Exhale, squeeze back through center. We're gonna keep moving side to side like that, and I really want you to move as slow as possible. Inhale as you open, exhale as you come back in. As we start our class today, getting used to linking the pace of your breath to the pace of your movement and finding your exhale on the part of the movement that feels a little more challenging, like you need a little bit more power to get through it. So here, that's probably the squeeze back in. So continue moving side to side at your own pace. And I just want you to notice how it feels when the arm comes to the side. That side oblique, can you engage it to try to keep everything really level and grounded into your mat? So without actually twisting or moving the legs too much here, we are activating the obliques. You are squeezing that block still so that the lower abs are still turning on. Your low back is protected. We're gonna do one more each side. So open up that right arm, squeeze it back in. Left arm opens, Squeeze it back in and just hold here. Perfect. Arms are gonna stay still. I want you to bring your big toes to touch. Keep squeezing that block. And then knees are gonna twist to the left. Toes kind of come to the right. So I'm like crunching my right side body, and then I'm switching. Toes to the left, knees to the right. I'm crunching left side body. So everything else is staying really still in the upper body, and we're just kind of rotating through the hips here, still waking up the obliques. Notice if your knees want to come really close towards your chest. Try to keep them stacked over your hips or even further away as you continue to really slowly twist side to side here, like you're doing a crunch on each side obliques. And we are still breathing really, really big. One more each side. Amazing. Come back through center. Take a moment, ditch all your props. Just place your block off to the side, and then we're gonna grab our weights again. Come back up to your tabletop. Pause for a moment. I want you to find your neutral spine, so the exact same shape we did when we were on hands and knees. And then you're just gonna toe tap. So right toes come down, and then knee comes back in. You're gonna alternate sides. Inhale as you tap down. Exhale as you come back in. Now, the trick here is that a lot of people want to tap their heel really close to their bum, and then you're moving from the knee joint and your lower abs aren't actually getting to do much. So I want you to think about moving from the hip joint, tapping your toe really far away from you. So now when you exhale, you have to engage the lower abs to bring the weight of your leg back up. So keep moving like that. If that starts to bother your lower back, your hip flexors a lot, listen to your body and change it up. Feet can plant, we can march instead. It's the exact same movement, just in reverse. Good. If you want to add on some arms here, we're going to do same arm as leg. So when my right toes tap down, my right arm comes overhead. And then switch. All right, keep going here. A few things to be mindful of is your low back lifting as the leg comes down, and then pressing down as the knee comes back up. I want you to keep a neutral spine the whole time. So there's actually no movement in your pelvis. It's staying really, really stable, like you were standing up against a wall and marching. Good, and we aren't gonna add on an ab curl just yet, so really try to keep your head planted, shoulders down. And at any time you can ditch the weights if that's starting to bother you. We've just got 2 more each side. Check back in with the breath. Make sure you're using your exhale to come back in. Make sure you're still moving slow. 1 more each side. Inhale, right arm reaches, right toe taps. Exhale, pull it back in. Switch sides. Exhale, pull it back in and just hold. Pausing right here. Let's bring both arms back out to that chest fly. Toes to the ceiling. Maybe toes reach a little further away from you. Again, still keeping that neutral spine, so don't bring them too low. On an inhale here, we're going to pause. On an exhale, you're going to pull your knees into your chest. Reach your hands forward, find an ab curl. Try to get in as small of a little ball as you can. And then on your inhale, come back out to that T shape with your body. So big breath in here. And then big breath out as you come into a little ball. 3 more like that. Inhale, open up. Exhale, squeeze in. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze in. Last one. Hold your little ball. Just pause. Beautiful. Keep your chest nice and open. Gaze towards the ceiling. Wrap your ribs in. We're holding. If you want here, you can scissor the legs. Bicycle the legs and just keep holding this ab curl. Weights reach forward for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your head, your weights down. Amazing. Hug your knees into your chest. Give your back a little bit of a massage down into the mat. And take a moment here. Relax the shoulders. Anything that was bugging you. Good. We are going to do some roll-ups. So straighten your legs nice and long on the mat. Weights are going to come on top of your chest. You can definitely do this without weights if you'd like. We're just going to start by doing an ab curl, but think about reaching your weight straight up towards the ceiling. And then start to reach forward. Try to roll up through each vertebrae of your spine until you're stacked. And then at the top, you're going to twist. So left arm comes back first. Unwind. Roll back down. Really try to articulate through the spine, make that super, super slow. Come back to flat on your back, weights to the ceiling. And then same thing, start with an ab curl, up towards the ceiling, and then forward, try to round up nice and slow. and then stack your spine and twist towards the right this time. This twist is really slow, and I don't want you to let your nose come past your shoulder. Sometimes we just like to look to the back, and that's how we want to twist. I want you to imagine your nose, your chin, your sternum are all in the same line as you rotate. So it's not super big. You're in control the whole time. Inhale, come down. Exhale, come up. Inhale, twist. Exhale, unwind. One more in each direction. Really, really try to link your breath. Find that slow pace where you are in control. Inhale to twist. Exhale, unwind. Inhale, lower down. This is your last one. Exhale, come on up. Inhale, twist to the right. Exhale, come back through center. Pause. Cross your weights, bring them to your chest. Plant your feet, and then lean back slightly. Pause right here. Get light in your feet, so maybe just the big toes touch your floor or your mat. Bright in the chest, ribs wrap in. We're gonna reach the arms forward, palms to the ceiling here. And you're gonna row one elbow back, and then reach it forward, and then switch. All right, so lots of options here. If that bothers your hip flexors, I want you to sit up tall. You can cross the legs or come onto your shins, and just do your arms here, rowing the elbow back, serving the platter forward. You can definitely ditch your weights here. And what I don't want you to do is twist. We're not twisting anymore. We're still working the obliques by just moving the arms on one side at a time, keeping your chest nice and bright, your core really, really strong. All right, if you are in your little V-sit and you want to add on, let's straighten the legs, and then same arm as leg is going to march. So when you're rowing back, you're marching a knee in, and then you're switching. Finding an angle that works for you here. We're not actually coming into a half roll back. I want you to stay up high on your tailbone, low back really straight. All right, so keep moving at the pace of your breath. Really, really trying to accentuate that lengthened spine. I always like to say somebody has one strand of your hair and they are pulling it up towards the ceiling. Immediately the entire room gets taller. So try to imagine that sensation. You would grow tall. Let's do one more each side. And then just pause, reach your hands forward. If your legs are straight and you want to come all the way up into a V-sit or a boat pose, I invite you to float your feet up. If that is not something that feels good for your hips, you can tap the toes down and just keep your chest nice and bright. We're holding here for 4. Then we're gonna stand on up. 3, 2, and 1. Drop your weights, cross your ankles, and then just fold forward and let everything go. Take a few breaths here. If you'd like a sip of water, now is a good time. And then we'll just stand up and bring our weights with us. Okay, so I'm using 3 pounds for this series, but you can do anything from 1 to 5. And just bring your feet underneath your hips. We'll start with a serve the platter. So elbows start into your sides, palms face the ceiling. Pause for an inhale. On an exhale, reach your arms forward to about shoulder height, and then bring them back in on an inhale. So exhale, reach forward. Inhale, come back. So elbows are gonna pause at your sides, and then palms are gonna pause at the top at the height of your shoulders. You don't really have to go higher here. If it feels better for your elbow joint, you can keep the elbows bent, and then elbows stop at shoulder height, hands come right in front of your face. Try not to swing the arms forward and back here. I want you to move as slow or slower as we just did in our core section. Really, really focusing on all the work you're doing to move against that resistance of those weights, and there's absolutely no momentum. So I'm all about slow movements. I really want you to try to keep that pace at home. If you are listening to music, you can always think about a 4 count in music in one direction, and then 4 counts back in the other direction as a nice way to set your pace, because naturally you'll kind of start to go faster. So keep going here. If your balance is feeling amazing today, we can lift the heels at the top as the arms reach forward, and then squeeze elbows back in. Finding a nice little balance moment at the top so the full body is working. Knees keep a tiny bend in them, bum is squeezing, core is squeezing, and your gaze is staying on something that's not moving. And hopefully by now, after all this talking I've been doing, your shoulders are starting to feel this, your chest is starting to feel this. We are going to add on. You have 1 more here, so full lift and lower. And then I want you to reach your arms up bent. So elbows come up to shoulder height. You can touch the heads of the weights together and then just find a little pulse to the ceiling. Trying to make these really small and sharp. So we're not big and bouncy, really, really controlled for 8, 7, and then we're not gonna break the arms, keep them lifted. 5, 4, 3, 2, hold on 1, reach your arms straight in front of you. Your left arm is gonna stay, your right arm is gonna slowly open to the side and then squeeze back in. All right, so this whole arm sequence is all about endurance. That's why we're using small weights. We are moving big and we are moving slow. Your option here to test your balance is to lift your left leg out to the side. So my right arm is opening, my left leg is gonna do this little tiny side kick, and then everything's gonna come back to where we started. All right, so try not to lean too much to the side. Think shoulders, hips, and that bottom foot are all super stacked, and you're kind of doing a counterbalance by lifting one limb in each direction, kind of like that dead bug we just did on the floor. And we are just moving this right arm. Try to keep your left arm at about shoulder height, elbow tiny bend, palm to the ceiling, the front of your shoulder on fire. Breathe with me. We've got 2 more. And then the next time you reach out to the side, we're gonna hold, see if you can balance that leg lifted and just circle the right arm. So only the right arm is moving. You have 8, 7, we're not gonna put these weights down. We're gonna switch to side 2, in 4, 3, 2, come back to center, right arm stays still, left arm opens to the side, and then comes back in. All right, you're gonna keep going. I'm gonna take a quick break to show you that sometimes when the weights are forward, we kind of wanna lean back. We like to do this little like archy dump thing in our low backs, straighten the knees and pop the hips forward. I want you to do the opposite. Tiny bend in your knees, low back is really long, ribs are wrapping in, neck is super long. So when everything else is moving and you're trying to resist shifting in any direction, you have this really, really stable base. So if I was in your living room with you and I came over and I pushed you, you wouldn't move a centimeter. All right, so find that really sturdy base, and then if you'd like, your right leg can lift up and then come back down. Again, really, really slow. I'm so guilty of speeding up, especially when I'm teaching and there's no music. So really try to keep that slow pace, stay in control, especially if you're lifting that leg up. It might feel like you want to kind of pop it back down to find your balance. Breathe slow. You're in control here. You've got this. This is your last 3. And then we're not gonna put your weights down. We've got shoulder taps to finish this little burner. And 2, the next time you lift, come to the side, hold. Just circle that left arm for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Feet down, arms to the side, shoulder tap. Keep your elbows nice and high. This is your last move until we get a little teensy tiny break. Can you keep your elbows pretty high, almost the same height as your shoulders? And then tap with control. You're moving a little bit faster, but we're not flying here. You just have 4. And then we hold, elbows bent to 90 in 3, 2, and we're right there with you. Hold halfway in, pause. Optional to stay here or to do little pulses. Sometimes a static hold feels better for your muscles. Sometimes this little pulse feels like a nice finisher. So just listen to your body, do what you need here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Take a big shoulder roll, maybe roll out your neck. We're gonna have a little bit more standing before we come down and finish with some glutes on the floor. We're gonna kind of add everything together though, put some legs into the standing series. So I want you to step your feet wide like you're coming into a second position plie or like a big sumo squat. Lower the hips down. Arms are gonna come up into a goal pose shape, 90-degree bend. So you're kind of like starting like a crab. And then you're gonna lift your right heel, pivot your right knee down towards your mat as you turn to the left side, find a lunge. This front foot doesn't really have to move. Arms are squeezing out in front of me. I'm gonna straighten both legs, overhead press, wrap the ribs and shoulders down, come back into my lunge, open up through center, and then pivot to the other side. Left heel lifts, left knee drops, elbows close in front of my face, overhead press, both legs straighten. Everything bends back to your lunge, and then you come back into your plie. All right, option for arms to be straight here in the center, and then they can bend, close into your lunge. Everything straightens, overhead press, back in and down. All right, the trick here is to try to keep your head really low through center. So keep doing those arms. I'm just gonna show you how steady I want your head to be until you straighten up. Come back down into your lunge, back through center, head and hips stay low, quads are on fire, everything straightens together. We've got 3 more left. Stay with me, stay low, stay in control of your breath. All right, last set, 1 more each side. You've got this. Then we're gonna come down to our mats. Your arms get a little tiny break. Good, last time over to the right. We're gonna come back through center, pause, open up, and just hold. Sink your hips really low here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Stand tall, heel toe your feet in. Give me 1 big shoulder roll. And then we're coming back down to your mats. So bring your weights with you. Have a sip of water if you need, and we'll lie back down. All right, so coming down onto your back, keep all your props near you, but you don't need them yet. We're just gonna lie down and do some bridge lifts. So you're gonna lie flat on your back, find that neutral spine again. Feet are pretty close towards your heels. If you reach your arms down, you can tickle your ankles. Plant the feet down, squeeze the bum, really, really squeeze your bum. Wrap your ribs in, so everything in your trunk is really steady. It's gonna move straight up and down. So on your exhale, dig into those heels, squeeze the bum. Lift to the top of your bridge, pause. You have a long line from knees to hips to shoulders. So try not to come up any higher. If you're lower, that's totally fine. So we're exhaling to come to the top. Inhale, just come down halfway. So your bum stays squeezed and it doesn't touch the floor. Exhale, come back up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. All right, so find your pace with your breath here. It doesn't have to be as painfully slow as 4 counts in the music. If you want, arms can reach up towards the ceiling. I'm not gonna grab my weights again, but if you want to, be my guest. We're just gonna keep the arms hovering here, and having the arms lifted helps activate the upper abs here. We've got 2 more. Then we're gonna add on a heel lift or a march, totally up to you. The next time your hips come to the top, we hold, pause right here. I want you to look at your hips if you can see them. They're level to the floor. Try to keep them level as we kind of start to alternate side to side. So your right heel is gonna lift, and then it's gonna lower. Your left heel is gonna lift, and then it's gonna lower. You get the gist. We're gonna keep going side to side. Now, what sometimes likes to happen here is one hip wants to drop because we don't have as much support with both heels down. So really try to keep your hips level. If that means they're like 2 inches off the floor, that's great. Do what you need to do in your body to prioritize your alignment and everything feeling good in your joints. You've got that happy muscle burn, but there's no negative tension anywhere. And then if this is feeling very lovely, it's a good challenge, but you want some more, I want you to start to march. So you're gonna peel your right heel up and then continue pointing that toe until your knee comes to a hover right on top of your hip, back to that tabletop, and then bring it back down nice and slow. Switch sides. So you've got time to push into your opposite heel and then march the other leg. All right, so what I don't want is this. Nothing happens here, I promise. You gotta move slow so that everything is really intentional. You work so much harder. There's so much more benefit, especially in a short class like this, if you move slow. Less reps is better. All right, if your arms are lifted, maybe you want to start reaching them overhead. Again, it'll keep working the upper abs. And then my last option for you is your right leg's gonna lift. You're gonna hold. Hips are gonna come down to a hover. This right leg is gonna lengthen. Don't let your bum touch, mine just did. Come back up to your march at the top of your bridge lift and then lower that foot down. It's a lot of work for that one leg. So left knee marches, we're high in the hips. Exhale, leg extends, bum comes to a hover. Drive the right heel down, lift back up to that march at the top of your bridge and then place that foot down. Keep moving with control here. If you are still doing alternating heel raises, amazing. Maybe you raise the heel, do 4 pulses, drop that heel down, switch sides. All right, so I always want to make sure there's as many options as possible so that you can kind of pick and choose based on how your body's feeling in that moment. Maybe yesterday you were like, I could have done marches for 20 minutes. Today you're like, no, not today. So just be nice to yourself, listen to that little voice in your head. It normally knows what you need. So when we get to the end of a longer series where you've probably spent more time than you want to here and your brain has wandered off, you're thinking about something else, I want you to keep bringing your awareness back to your breath. So no matter what option you're taking, whether you're heel lifting, you're marching, you're extending, you are doing your absolute best to stay present in your body. That's how we get the most out of these workouts. Be nice to yourself. Sometimes there's those days where like, you can't help but think about everything else going on in your life. That is okay. Just do your best to keep coming back to your breath. Trying to enjoy this moment. Your body is working so hard for you. And that is a really, really beautiful thing. All right, last option here if you're doing this leg extension. When you do, the arms can reach overhead. All right, so it's almost like we're doing core work in our bridge lift. As everything extends, I want you to brace through your core, come back up. We have 2 more each side. So however you're moving, I want you to stay slow, stay really strong, really intentional with your breath till the very, very, very end. Because after this, we have 1 plank and then we get to do a quick stretch and then you're done. All right, you're coming up to that last rep. And then we just hold, plant both heels back down, come right back to where you started, and then little hip pulses to the ceiling. Trying to keep a pretty long line from knees to shoulders, neck really long. You are staring up at the ceiling, try not to look around here. You have 8 pulses. Drive those heels down and think about squeezing them towards your bum for 4, 3, 2, inhale on 1, hold, exhale, lower down gently, knees come into chest, rock and roll up your spine a few times, come right into a forearm plank, and we're gonna switch side to side. So for this forearm plank, I want your elbows to be crossed like this. Set yourself up either on your knees or on your toes. If you're on your toes, feet are wide enough that you can kind of drop 1 foot down. We're gonna do this. If you're on your knees, every time we switch, you'll probably have to stack, that'll feel better. So just take your time, set up wherever you want. Again, those forearms are crossed like this. Keep your hips at the same height as your shoulders. And we're gonna move at your own pace, alternating side to side. This is your last push of class. So every time you come into that side plank, I want you to pause for a breath in and a breath out. If you're feeling spicy today, you wanna do a leg lift every time you come into your side plank, do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. You have about 30 seconds of work here. I am right here with you until the end of this class. So just keep breathing, keep moving. We are still slow. We are still in control. This is your last 10, 9, make sure you do an even amount on both sides, 6, 5, we'll finish in your regular plank, come up onto your hands in 4, 3, 2, 1, come up onto your hands, whatever version of plank you want to do to finish, and we're just going to hold still for 8. Final push of class. Press those palms down, spread your shoulder blades out, wrap your ribs in, squeeze inner thighs, squeeze bum. Everything is on. You just have 4. Then we child's pose. 3, 2, 1. Knees wide, hips back, forehead down. Amazing work. We're going to take a few minutes to stretch. And I really want you to stay checked in for these last few minutes. They are equally as important as those burner moments. We're going to walk our hands to one side, do that same stretch we did in warm-up, and then switch. Come back through center, and then find your downward facing dog. So press into your hands, tuck your toes, lift your hips. Give yourself a little pedal here, one knee bends, then the other. And then we'll tiptoe your feet in towards your hands. Find a forward fold in the middle of your mat. And I really want you to bend your knees here so that your belly is resting on your thighs. The last thing you want in your forward fold is locked knees, round back. All right, so do the opposite. Bend knees, long back, Head falls heavy. Hold opposite elbows and just find a really gentle sway side to side. Moving really slow, really soft. Notice that you're still holding your head up. A lot of us like to do this. We hold that heavy thing up all day. Can you let it go? Yep, and then release elbows through center. Take a breath in. Exhale really slowly, round up through your spine, letting the head come up last until you're at the very top, everything stacks. We'll take one last breath together. Inhale, arms sweep wide and up. Palms touch overhead, hands pull through heart center. I want you to take a moment here to honestly, genuinely thank yourself for everything your body just did, because it was amazing. And until we see each other again, have a really great rest of your day.